Welcome to the Huts Hangout. Grab your blasters and blue milk because we're about to deep dive into the game where Huts rule and three scoundrels drool. Error 404, Aussie Mike avatar crashed shutting down.
Oh god, we've got an Aussie mic crash already, Matthias. Right, okay. Welcome, guys. Welcome, everybody. I didn't expect Aussie mic to crash this morning, but it turns out weather can affect an AI. As you can also see, we do not have Bones this week. Although we do have Bones, he might just be his normal self. There is me and myself and Matthias. However, with everything going on as well, I am currently in avatar form because I really can't be arsed being on camera. How are you, Matthias? You being the only one with a working camera right now.
Yeah, nobody asked me if I wanted to be in avatar form, so, I guess I'm just stuck here with a live camera since Mike crashed and Bones is still drunk from his drinking escapades on Thursday. So, I guess I'm doing all right. We are unfortunately going to have to do a fast one this week. Everybody just has a lot going on, especially with the cyclone hitting Brisbane, affecting a lot of our Australian friends. And I still have family in town, though I think this is maybe the last weekend that I have family in town. So next weekend might be able to get back to our normal schedule of actually, doing a 4-hour podcast and hanging out in the VIH chat for a little while afterwards.
Yeah, it has been interesting without you, and it has not been as fun without you, especially with everything else. So it's like, we have a good laugh, though. We do have a good laugh in there. For myself, it's just been streaming as normal this week. A couple of bits have happened right at the tail end of this week that has put a damper on that for a while. But I'm going to still do what I can. After this stream, I am going to be jumping on with Tasnex, and we're going to be doing the big account on there. But yeah, there's not a lot going on at the moment. In-game there is, but for us lot, there's just too much going on in the world to be able to do everything that we'd really like to. But we have got some fun news this week. So stuff we're going to be covering this week. Crosshair's kit, bug fixes of ezrile, whether we know it's working or if it is working correctly. There is a little bit to talk about there, but not a lot. And then that lovely bug of GAC, which we're all officially hating right now. We also will cover any podcast questions, but we've currently got none in there. So if you do want your questions answered this week, please give us a shout. And I will be in the VIH chat after the podcast for a couple of minutes before I jump over to Tasnex's stream. But after that, I will be in there probably for the afternoon. So yeah, it's just one of those, guys. It's a bit of a weird day, but you're all welcome to join us. You're all welcome to cause mischief and chaos with us. So, let's get on with it. So, first of all, we're going to go through Crosshair's kit. Now, initially, when this first dropped, my first thoughts of this kit was, meh, okay, that's
Very
fine.
much meh. Yeah.
But
I know there's a lot of people that are they're looking at this and they're saying this is going to be amazing, and I'm not sure if me and them are reading the same kit, but it's not the worst kit that we've ever seen, but it's definitely not game breaking.
So initially I thought, okay, it's not great. It's like there was nothing super stand out. But the little bit of testing we have seen has shown there's certain things that were going to make it not that great, which we will go through. We will go through the little bits and pieces. Actually do go really quick, meaning he hits like an absolute freight train. So maybe this team has got an advantage, but it's not like standout. It's nothing you can just go, oh yeah, it's going to be a destructive team. So it's just one of those where it's a very weird kit.
Yeah.
So
So let's just go ahead and we'll get straight into it. So
Yep.
the unit name is Crosshair Scarred, alignment light side, and the only categories he falls into are attacker and bad batch, which no surprise there.
Yep.
Except maybe, Mike was talking about how he considered snipers to be a little bit more of a support in his mind. So, get fucked, Mike. But
Oh.
the
Um,
attributes.
just before
Oh,
that,
go ahead.
welcome Sunflies for the raid. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit surprised he is an attacker, but with what he does, yeah, it's more than fine.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh, Key attributes: Deadly Sharpshooter, who deals significant damage. The final piece of the kernel for the new Bad Batch squad. Benefits immensely from having more target practice stacks because it helps him get rid of Shaken by having target practice stacks.
Yep.
In season 3 of the Bad Batch, the inspiration for this character, in season 3 of the Bad Batch, we saw Crosshair Scarred's confidence shaken as he grappled with trust and belonging upon rejoining the Bad Batch. His kit highlights this internal struggle between his loyalty to his squad and the influence of external forces, adding depth to his character dynamics in battle. During the battle, Crosshair Scarred's sharpshooting skills will be evident as he regains his shaken confidence. He starts with a powerful stacking debuff, Shaken. There's multiple ways to remove stacks of Shaken. Make sure to utilize his and his Bad Batch allies' kits correctly to eliminate Shaken and restore him to his status as a great sharpshooter. With his second ability, Target Secured, Crosshair Scarred can deal a high amount of damage, which also scales with the number of turns taken by him and the enemies before this ability is used. So, high
Yes.
single fire damage, anybody?
So this is the ability that a couple of us were a little bit scared of because the longer you can be willing to wait, the better it could get. But also,
Yeah.
you need to get rid of fucking Shaken as fast as you can.
Yeah.
So
Um,
it's one of those. It's going to be interesting. Other than that, it's just event starts Tuesday as normal.
yep. Perfect, completely normal, marquee, the way that
But
they've been doing the marquee structure with,
yeah,
the multiple tiers based on how many stars you have. You're gonna need to have Omega Fugitive, Batcher, Mercenary Hunter, and Mercenary Wrecker in
at
order
Relic
to get
5.
the yeah,
Yeah.
in order to
No,
get the maximum, you're gonna need all of those characters built up.
yeah, this bit kind of does suck for the last stage of it. But if they're going to make something there that's worthwhile, okay. But there's no datacron. They haven't confirmed there's a datacron for him. So
Yeah, well, the data
yeah,
crown was for Hunter, so
yeah,
I wouldn't expect to see anything for him.
yeah. It's one of
Um,
those. It's just one of
yeah.
those. Right. First ability: hit or a miss.
Final text. Deal physical damage to target enemy 3 times and inflict them with defense down for 2 turns, which can't be evaded or resisted. If this attack misses, expose them for 2 turns, which can't be evaded or resisted.
So
I
we'll
I like
we'll
it. It's a very simple, basic ability.
yeah.
Triple tap is very powerful. So, I am kind of looking forward to that. And
So
this is
this is one
this
of
is the
those
first
where
character.
this is was one of the ones where we were sat going, if you can miss enough, it will be great. And then you read the kit further on, you are going to miss a lot early on.
Yeah.
But later on,
Um,
this could get lethal.
I like that they're kind of, and granted, obviously, it's very based heavily on his kit and the stacks of Shaken. But I like that he is a character who says, if I miss, it's not a complete loss. Right? Like, we don't have any other characters that are like, even if you miss, you still get a little bit of something out of it.
Yeah.
The as I like that this is a character that finally is like, hey, those Jedi chaining rays and those ezriles that you can't fucking hit? Well, this guy actually does a little bit of something against them.
Yeah, and the other part of it is that it's exposed, which can't be evaded or resisted, meaning regardless, you are getting
Yeah.
exposed, which is pretty goddamn nice.
Yeah, and exposed for anybody who, oh, sorry, we've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time. Expose, for anybody who does not recall, does 20% max health damage as bonus true damage. I don't know why for the longest time, up until about a month ago, I always thought it was 25%, but about a month ago, I realized it was 20%, and so that was kind of weird for me. Felt like I was shaken to my core. Really solid Mandela effect there.
Honestly, I think expose is definitely a good thing. If he's going to inflict it potentially 3 times, as long as all of them miss, that is going to make a huge difference.
I don't think that's how that works because, like, Iden Versio does damage 3 times with her basic, right? And
Yeah.
it's an all or nothing. He's not attacking 3 times. He's
Yeah.
attacking once and doing 3 instances of damage.
Yeah, so we've got to wait to see, but honestly, even just one expose is going to be fun to play with because it gives you a target. If you can hit somebody correctly or you can target the right person in the team, there's already videos out there of this destroying GLs, and it's like, okay, there is potential.
Yeah, especially with doing that much damage, if you build this guy for crit damage, if his basic is going to hit 3 times, he's going to annihilate people.
Yeah. Right.
Special 1, I
Yep.
will handle it with a cooldown of 3. Final text, deal physical damage to target enemy, dealing 10% more damage for each relic amplifier level Crosshair Scarred has. Call target Bad Batch ally to assist, dealing 50% more damage. If Crosshair Scarred was the target ally, he is not called to assist, and instead removes 6 stacks of Shaken from himself and stuns the target enemy for 1 turn. If ally Omega Fugitive is in the leader slot, and the target enemy took damage from a Bad Batch ally's attack on the previous turn, reduce the cooldown of target secured by 1.
Yeah. So I really like this ability.
It's a solid ability.
That second part of it is potentially going to be the best part. Is you're going to probably early on want to target himself really quick to, pardon me, to scrap off those stacks of Shaken, and removing 6. Removing 6 is nothing big. Yeah. Removing 6 is nothing to, say, oh yeah, I'm not going to do it. The other thing here, they are really pushing us for Relic 9, aren't they? They are really pushing it.
Yeah. And that's something that we've seen with this team, something that we called out back when we read the kit for Omega Fugitive is this whole team, their kits just have a lot of call out to the more relic levels you have, the stronger they're going to be.
Yeah. But this is adding 10% more damage for each relic amplifier level. Now, you get damage all the way through. Yes, Relic 9 is not a big damage output, but if you're going to end up modding this guy to do huge damage, having a little bit added and then put it through all your mods of congratulations, here's the offense percentages, that will make the difference. That will push this high.
Let's look at. Do we know what his mastery stats are?
I can find out. I can pull up the game. Bear with us. I haven't actually got the game open yet either, which is not like me.
Yeah, I don't have the game open right now either.
Yeah, it's opening now.
But I would imagine that his mastery, as an attacker, his mastery stats are probably offense and crit damage. So the more relic levels you give him, the higher his damage is going to get. And then not only that, just as an intrinsic part of his kit, now or his character model with the relic amplifier levels, but now with this ability specifically calling out, I mean, he's an attacker. Even if you only take him to relic 8, that's still 80% more damage. That's if it was going to do 100,000, it's doing 180,000.
Yeah, it is a serious amount added. All right, let's just jump on here. So his mastery stats are critical chance, critical damage, and damage.
Yeah, so just
this is
annihilate people.
So something that I've been learning more about is modding, and I've been going through like stupid ways of getting the tiny bit extra. R9 is, yes, I get a lot of health, I get a lot of protection, I get a chunk of mastery and everything else. And we did the mastery video a couple of weeks back now, where we went through with Egnards, who loves the math side of it, and we went through the headache of mastery. Now, yes, these percentages are very low increases, but it's very low increases multiple times that then mastery stacks on everything else when certain abilities happen. This ability adding for the damage, the amount of extra damage you're going to get from the mastery might only be like 1,000, 2,000 for even going to R9. But you're going to have huge stack up on percentage. You then add 80, 90%. You could easily be looking at this character going, here is my physical offense at 12, 13 thou, and all of a sudden doing the 150, 160, 200 plus damage that we all fear. Like, there is the video out there of somebody one-shotting stuff on a rating. So
now,
big.
Also, hear me out on this, right? This is Mateus, your friendly neighborhood shit tier theory crafter. Ahsoka Tano, second ult, Relentless Redoubt.
Yep.
50% ultimate charge, 75% ultimate charge, 100% ultimate charge, whatever. All light side allies gain an additional X% mastery until the end of the battle.
Yep.
So let's say you, for whatever fucking reason, you've got a spare Ahsoka GL on offense, Ezrile's with Rey, General Syndulla's on defense, eating up most of your solid Spectre team, and you're like, man, I don't want to bring Ahsoka Tano in with fucking Chopper and Fulcrum. I mean, maybe you just throw Batcher and Crosshair on the team with her, and then every time she ults, Crosshair starts chunking even more damage away from people.
I would probably, if you're going to end up doing something like that, you would want Omega and Crosshair.
I know he has a couple of specific callouts to Omega being his leader. I'm just saying that the new Bad Batch team itself doesn't have a way to stack mastery.
No.
Most teams don't have a way to do that. You kind of need a GL or a GL level character in order to increase your mastery throughout the battle. All I'm saying is if you had a way to increase his mastery as the battle goes on, he would start hitting harder and harder. And, that's something that you could use, maybe not in GAC, but just in Conquest. They have those cards that say, like, whenever an ally attacks out of turn, all allies gain 8% mastery stacking.
Yeah.
Things like that. It's just, all I'm saying is that this character, I think, while the scarred debuff is going to be something that you do have to work through, I think that it's going to be incredibly effective especially if you can find a way to stack his mastery throughout the battle.
Yeah. I do agree. If you can find a way of stacking his mastery, it is going to get lethal fast. My only concern is that shaken debuff. This team is going to annihilate that shaken debuff very, very quickly. And that's what it's going to come down to.
You're right, it will, because as we'll get to when we get to his unique, whenever he gains a stack of target practice, he loses a stack of shaken. And if you look at it and you say, okay, so let's say Omega goes first, right? She pings somebody with a basic. Now you've got somebody is targeted. And then Batcher goes and he uses his special 2 and he hits them and then follows up with his own basic. Now that's 2 stacks of target practice. And then Hunter uses his basic, and which calls Batcher to assist. So now you're up to 4 stacks of target practice. And then Wrecker comes in and uses his basic, which hits twice and gains you 2 more stacks of target practice. Now you've already removed 6 stacks of shaken from Crosshair, and he hasn't taken his first turn yet.
And then you use, I'll handle it. Oh, look, that's 12 stacks gone. Very quickly.
Exactly.
Granted, it is we will go through that debuff because that was my concerning point, but seeing this early video of it all, I don't see it as big of an issue, but we'll get to it when we get to it. So, next one.
Yeah. So special 2, target secured, cooldown of 8. Final text. Crosshair Scarred gains 200% critical damage until the end of his turn. Deal physical damage to target enemy and inflict armor shred until the end of the encounter. This attack deals 50% more damage based on the number of turns taken by enemies and Crosshair Scarred before target secured is used again, to a maximum of 500%. This attack can't be evaded and can't be used if Crosshair Scarred has shaken. So what I'm seeing with this, right? This is the first thing that comes to my mind is this attack deals 50% more damage based on the number of turns taken by enemies and Crosshair Scarred before target secured is used again.
Yep.
Imperial Troopers, right? Imperial Troopers is known for running the turn meter train. Well, you have Wrecker Mercenary as part of his kit, says that whenever an enemy gains 50% or more turn meter before a Bad Batch ally does, Wrecker gives all Bad Batch allies 15% turn meter. So eventually, the way that works is that while the Imperial Troopers are going to run a little bit of a train, they're not going to be able to keep the train going forever. Wrecker will eventually interrupt it. But as that train is going, they're going to take a bunch of turns, and now Crosshair Scarred is going to get his 10 enemies took their turns. When I use this ability, I do 500% bonus damage.
Yeah. So something that I thought with this is you are going to want to burn off the shaken as fast as you can, specifically for getting it off, because if you take 2 full turns to get rid of all 20 stacks, you are going to be above the 500%.
Yeah.
So if you are using this on turn 3, you are perfectly fine and you are going to be maxed out. Combine that with 200% critical damage, the fact that it inflicts armor shred, the fact that it can't be evaded. I think this is a really strong ability.
Yeah. It is very solid. And, you know, we said that we thought that he was going to have an insta-kill because it just made sense for a sniper character and who Crosshair is. Yep. Then we saw this is going to hurt from Hunter's kit, and we said, okay, maybe Crosshair won't have that. So the fact that both Crosshair and Hunter have this like massive damage, not quite insta-kill, but definitely this is gonna do a fuck ton of damage abilities, makes this team very scary.
Yeah. Like, I think that ability alone, if he's hitting for even just 100k damage at peak, Going up to 500k damage, that's going to wipe out even the fattest of rays.
If he's doing 100k damage normally, you got to remember he's also gaining 200% crit damage till the end of his turn.
Yeah.
So now it's more like 200k damage, we'll say, just for simple math. I'm sure the actual number is much higher than that, but now it's going to do 500% more of that. So now you're saying this ability is going to do 1,000,000 damage.
Yeah. Which...
Nothing will survive that.
No. This is an insta-kill without an insta-kill. So it's like, yeah, you might have ways to survive it. You might be able to mitigate quite a bit of the damage, and it might not be able to get past the Ezra issue. So like if you are facing Ray and Ray's above 50% health, this isn't going to kill Ezra. However, the amount of damage this is doing, even like a really tanked up Ray, a really tanky Jabba, stuff that we sit there in game and it's like, right, put this on auto because there's a risk of timeout. It's not the risk of timeout. It's now the risk of I'm going to run out of the ability to not kill them. I've got to delay myself long enough to get the 500% to blow through them.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be the potential issue here.
Especially if you have Hunter inflict the protection disruption, and then you don't even have to worry about burning through their protection pool anymore. Yeah, this ability is going to do insane amounts of damage. I mean, just mentally was going through kind of, some of the more common stats you see on GLs in my head, and I realized that, even a JMK with all of his bonus protection is not going to survive this. The only GL that I can think of that's going to survive this is Lord Vader, because he can't be critically hit after a certain point, right? If he's at 100% health, he can be critically hit, and this is going to fucking kill him. If he's below, 90%, then he can't be critically hit anymore, and then he'll probably survive this hit at that point. But yeah, it's this one ability is going to one-shot GLs.
Yeah, it's not going to be like a pleasant hit. This is just going to kill things, which is going to be fun. Like, we've already seen the evidence of it from the playground testing, where this popped. It was somebody in the Ray team. Who was it? Not Mothma, the other one. Holdo, that's the one. Full health, full protection, with bonus protection, with Ray's debuff to reduce damage, and it literally went pop in one shot. And that's saying a hell of a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you could have, as long as Holdo doesn't have the critical avoidance or the critical hit immunity, you could have full health, full prot with lifeblood on her from Ray, and this is still going to one-shot her.
Yeah. I could honestly see if people get this right and we can work out really strong modding for him, I can see him doing some ridiculous numbers.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Before we, do a 2-hour podcast about this one ability.
Which we probably could.
Unique one. It's in my head. This has a Zeta and an Omega.
Yep.
Final text. At the start of battle, Crosshair Scarred gains 200% defense for 3 turns, and is inflicted with 20 stacks of Shaken, which can't be copied, dispelled, evaded, or resisted. Whenever Crosshair Scarred gains a stack of target practice, he removes 1 stack of Shaken and gains 15% turn meter. Whenever all stacks of Shaken are removed, Crosshair Scarred dispels all debuffs on himself and takes a bonus turn. He gains 100% accuracy while targeting a marked enemy. If there are no Galactic Legends, Crosshair Scarred's attacks ignore protection. While in Grand Arenas and there are no Galactic Legends, whenever Crosshair Scarred is inflicted with a debuff, he dispels it and gains 5% offense stacking, max 100% for 1 turn. Whenever a Bad Batch ally with target practice uses a special ability, Crosshair Scarred assists. Shaken, minus 10% accuracy, this effect persists through defeat. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, this is a lot. But yeah,
whenever so he's starting with 200% defense for the first 3 turns, right? This
Yep.
isn't a buff, so it's not copyable or anything like that. It's just part of his kit. The first 3 turns, he's hardly going to take any damage. Inflicted with 20 stacks of shaken, like we said before, that's minus 200% accuracy. But it's very possible that you could get him by his first turn to be down to like 8 stacks or whatever. Well, at least I thought that before this part about whenever he gains a stack of target practice, he gains 15% turn meter, because I forgot that was in his kit. So that means that, by the time he gains 6 stacks of target practice, he's going to be taking his first turn.
Yep.
So that kind of throws a wrench into the order of operations said earlier, but it's still pretty solid. It's still a fairly solid team, or a fairly solid kit. I mean, he's going to be taking a lot of turns, which you kind of want from him, right? You can use that first special on his first turn to remove the 6 stacks, and then if he's still got stacks of shaken when his second turn comes around, which it probably will, because of him going and gaining all this turn meter from the stacks of target practice, then you use his basic and he inflicts expose if he misses. But then you also got to take a look at this. He gains 100% accuracy while targeting an enemy section.
Yep.
I mean, Batcher and Hunter are both going to be inflicting marked on enemies constantly. So probably very easily be targeting a marked enemy, and maybe even by the time he takes his first turn, have an actual chance at landing a hit. Because, let's say he's only gained 3 stacks of target practice, so he's got minus 170%. But then he's targeting a marked enemy, so now that becomes minus 70% accuracy, which could land a hit. It's not a good chance, but it could land a hit.
Yeah. Especially if you're going to be using the special that then target himself, knock off a further 6, meaning you now, even if you're only at 3 or 4 stacks, that's 90% ripped off. You are actually in the realms of having accuracy again very soon. So I think his first time he is very likely to miss. That second turn that he takes, I don't think he's going to miss that often. Especially targeting somebody that's marked, it's going to be a case of, I could be positive accuracy. So, yeah. I also think this is potentially going to be an answer to the JTRs. When she gets the ridiculous dodge up and you just can't hit her because she dodges that high. If he's gaining 100% accuracy, and his accuracy is high enough anyway, naturally, which I think it's going to be, because giving him 200% accuracy down, well, 200% accuracy as a minus straight off the bat, there's a reason it's not 100%. I think his accuracy is going to be high.
I think the reason it's not 100% is because he has the natural plus 100% accuracy while targeting a marked enemy.
Yeah.
But, here's my question. Is this finally a character who wants an accuracy arrow?
It could well be. It could well be. I'm just having a look for the accuracy.
After I just sold all of my accuracy arrows a week ago, do I finally have a reason to put an accuracy arrow on somebody?
Oh, 0% accuracy. He doesn't have any natural accuracy.
Yeah, so I think there might be I think there's a world where you want an accurate crosshair just for the early game of the battle, because by the time the battle is, you know, gone on for a couple of turns, by the time he's taken his second or third turn, he's not going to miss anymore because he's always going to be targeting a marked enemy. But maybe to help out with that first couple of turns, he might want. I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't even know what a 6-dot accuracy arrow gives. I think it's 12% when it's 5 dots. I have no idea what 6-dot is.
I don't even have one to check, unfortunately. I will just double check. But I don't think I've got an accuracy arrow anymore because I was in the similar boat to yourself where I got rid. Oh, I have one, and it's 30% accuracy.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's fairly solid. I don't know. I think that a lot of testing would have to get done to determine whether or not I think that there's definitely a world where you don't want it. I can see both sides. Like I said, it may make this team win faster to have that, just because it's going to help him in the earlier turns. But as the battle goes on anyway, like I said, he's not going to need it anymore. So it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But I almost wish that instead of crit chance as a mastery skill, I almost wish he had accuracy as a mastery skill.
Yeah, I can see why they didn't, though, because, yeah, you don't want. If he's going to be as powerful as we're seeing just in the testing and everything else, you don't want him having accuracy before he even starts. I can understand why they've given the 200%. I was expecting to see like maybe 10-15% accuracy, nothing massive. 0% is a little bit of a shock to me, but okay, fair enough. Do I think an accuracy arrow is worth it on him? I think an accuracy offense arrow could be really goddamn worth it.
Yeah.
Like,
he definitely does not need a speed set. I do not think you're going to want a speed set on him. I think you're going to probably want health and crit damage, if I had to guess, because I don't think that he's going to need crit chance. Maybe you'll want crit chance, but
I'm looking at this and just this section and the earlier ones going, I want to go full offense build. So have like offense and crit chance, maybe offense and doesn't need potency as far as I've seen. So maybe offense defense set, maybe crit chance, maybe crit damage. There is a lot there just from this section.
I would say crit damage, crit chance with offense arrow, offense cross, and a crit damage triangle.
Yeah. But I think you're going to want to push his offense, and this is just leading more and more to, if you do take him to R9 and you're pushing his offense, he is just going to murder things for fun. And this is the important part here, is this ability is insane. Like, when I first read it, my first thoughts were, meh. It doesn't look great. Then I've reread it, then I've reread it again. Then we've seen the testing videos, and it's like, why is he hitting so hard? Why is he able to one-shot a holdo from full? And then it starts making sense. I think this character needs a bit of setup to make him hit as hard as he can. And it might be that you don't need a lot of speed on him. It might be that you want the offense set with as much speed as you can cram on there, so that you get back round to his turns even faster. Because remember, they're feeding him 15% turn meter every one of the target practices. However, if his turn meter is high enough, that 15% could be the difference between him skipping one character or skipping 3 or 4.
Yeah. No, absolutely. There's two ways to look at a character like this that has a natural way that he feeds turn meter to himself, and that is
Yeah.
that he's feeding himself turn meter so I don't need him to be fast. Or you could look at it and you could say he's feeding himself turn meter so the faster I make him, the more deadly he'll be. And both of those are completely valid. I'm just somebody who, with where I'm at with the mod selection that I have available to me, I don't have the ability to put a full set of 25 plus speed mods on every character. So I would rather mod this character as a way where I can capitalize on his ability to output damage instead of his ability to take turns.
Yeah. I honestly think an offense set on this, especially with the fact that down here you've got all the extra damage, and the on this ability you're getting up to 500% extra damage. The fact that you're getting more crit chance, yeah, it's terrifying that these abilities are going to get more and more deadly.
Yeah,
And I think
they
as the fight
seem
goes on, past that third turn, this is going to get lethal.
Yeah, you need to be killing him off by the time he's taking his third turn, because if you're not killing him at that point, you're kind of SOL.
I think there is reason why you don't worry about it too much, because if you can stop them getting the what's it called? Getting rid of Shaken, so stop them getting target practice, so take out Omega and things like that. If you can slow down that, he isn't a problem. But I can see, because of how the team works and what we've already seen from the team, they ramp target practice like there is no tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say was how are you going to do that though when you have Wrecker pre-taunting
Yeah.
and Omega giving everybody an undispellable stealth for 2 turns?
Yeah. And this is part of the problem is dealing with this team is just going to be, yeah, okay, we throw for a while whatever we know works at it. I don't think people are going to use this on defense for the simple reason of Crosshair's insta-kill effectively. It's just too good to turn down.
Yeah. Most insta-kill effects don't get put on defense, with Cat being the obvious exception, the occasional Omicron Treya team. But it's not even just like the Crosshair and the Hunter insta-kills that I'm looking at here, and I'm saying I don't think this is going to be on defense because of those. I don't think this is going to be on defense because this kit it kind of requires, this team requires you to sort of know what you're doing, right? It requires you to make sure that you're targeting the right characters at the right time in order to keep your stacks of target practice going. If you put this on defense, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a train where you've been gaining all stacks of target practice, and then Wrecker is going to use his AoE, and you're going to lose all your stacks of target practice immediately.
Yeah. The thing that makes me laugh about all this is all the animations for the last couple of months have been really nice. This is the only animation I don't like. Because it's that moment of, here is a big crosshair, so he can't fucking miss. Fuck off. Fuck off, you little bastards.
It is kind of a funny animation, and it definitely makes it look like the only reason they included that was to make all three of his animations slightly different from each other. Because, like, you look at his basic, and it's, I'm shooting 3 bullets straight forward. You look at his first special, and it's, I'm throwing the mirror up and then shooting the mirror. And you look at his final basic, and it's, I'm shooting.
Yeah. You have gone a little robo then, but you are recovering now already. But yeah, I do.
I was just saying his animations are very similar to each other, so I think
Yeah.
that the reason that they added that to this final animation was simply because, it makes the animations just slightly more different.
I'll be very honest. Very, very think pretty the same. But Batcher took that to a whole new level because it is literally rinse and repeat. There is
Yeah,
next
well,
to
that's
no
just
difference
he
there.
uses every turn he takes, he uses his basic. So
How to guarantee to wind people up. So, overall, what are your first thoughts of his kit then? First impressions, worries?
when I initially read his kit, I did find it to be kind of underwhelming. The first thing that I started thinking of was, how do you go about getting rid of the stacks of Shaken as quickly as possible without basically making him a useless character? And I really, honestly, kind of was sitting there looking at this kit going, okay, so Crosshair is this Bad Batch team's Omega. You're just going to leave him off so you can get better banners for undermanning the enemy team. But after reading through this kit a second time and kind of realizing a little bit more of the nuance associated with it, I think that this is going to be really overpowered, actually. I don't think that you're going to have a very hard time losing stacks of Scarred. And I think that he's going to be outputting an insane amount of damage.
Yeah, I do as well. I sat there initially, and my first thoughts were, if his kit is insane, that is great. If his kit is just meh, that's fine as well, because the whole team isn't massively overwhelming. The thing that got me was when I reread it for, I think it was like the third or fourth time, I started to realize that you can strip those Shaken really, really fucking quick. And that's where it was like, okay, this could be interesting. This could be really interesting. And
that's why
yeah.
I'm also sitting there and I'm looking at this team and I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, are there any characters on this team besides Crosshair that have a stun? Because one of the kind of like more underappreciated, I think, aspects of stun is that a stunned character cannot dodge.
Yeah.
So if you can inflict a stun on a character and then hit them with Crosshair's basic, he's going to hit, which means that you're going to get that defense down and you're going to gain 3 stacks of target practice on every character on your team. So that's 3 stacks of Shaken right there.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, where the next one we're talking about, guys, is the overall update and bug fixes and shit. As you can see, top of that one is Crosshair and Season 3 of the Bad Batch. Remember, the third era, should we say, of Bad Batch is about to hit. That will come Tuesday, or is it Monday the era changes? One or the other. One or the other. So that is this week, which means you'll get, if you do get it, you'll be getting your 20 shards of Crosshair, but it has come out there is 10 shards of all the others in there as well. So anybody that's really close that didn't get it finished, it is an advantage to you guys.
Yeah, I didn't actually read this post yet, so
Yep.
I am kind of close on Omega, Wrecker, and Batcher, so that might get me there.
Yeah, that was in the data mine. It isn't in the article anywhere, but It is in the data mine there saying that it is got this newest era pass has got 10 shards of every previous Bad Batch character, which is pretty nice. It also, in theory, we should have got Omega farmable by now. Going off the old way that it used to work, it should have been this week Omega went farmable. I'm hoping it's next week, but this is the first time they're doing eras. Everything could have changed. We don't know yet. So the fixes this week, there is a couple that are worthwhile and a couple that kind of laughed at. Corrected an issue where the description for Glamorian Guard's affix was not clear enough describing the affix. So functioning. They literally changed the description of the datacron to reflect what it was doing in game. That's what they've done. They've literally just gone, it's close enough. That'll do.
All right. That's solid, yeah. I guess.
Technically, it's right now.
I'm more awestruck by this second bullet here. Fixed an issue where Mace Windu wasn't able to select Galactic Republic allies who were to swap turn meter with when the target enemy had shatter.
Yep.
Has this been a bug since he got his re years ago?
I think it has, I did notice.
It took him 3 years to deal with this fucking bug.
I did notice the other day that I couldn't target people with days, and then yesterday doing TB stuff, I was able to. So it was like, ooh, I can get rid of your days or your stun now.
Are we sure that CG and EA aren't secretly owned by Bethesda?
They could be. They could be.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Right, so Omega is so close to Batcher that she was even using one of Batcher's marks when she should have been using one of her own. We made sure she's using the right one so that Hondo can't bypass her captive with his abilities.
Which, I think that's stupid, right? If you didn't want Hondo interacting that way with this team, then you shouldn't have reused the captive debuff. You should have made it a different debuff. Like, you specifically used the captive debuff, which you knew Hondo was the one who introduced the debuff, which means that he was going to be strong against this team. You fucked up. You should have just left that alone. Like, good job, dumbasses. Instead of just changing it so this team has a different kind of captive, because that's what they mean by marker, is that it's viewed differently by the game's code. Instead of changing it so this team uses a kind of captive than Hondo uses, they should have just been like, hey, we screwed up. We didn't realize how this was going to affect Hondo's interaction with the team. We're changing the name of this debuff from captive to something else.
Yeah. It is one of those where that alone for me was just like, did you not have pre-thought to kind of think about what you're doing?
Did you not have pre-thought? This is CG. Just leave it there.
Yeah, good point. Right, next. Fix an issue where learning by watching didn't grant target practice to allies when it killed an enemy.
Wait.
It was one of those.
Wait, so this whole time it was supposed to be granting target practice?
Yes, when it killed. Originally, when it first came out, she could kill by learn by watching, and it didn't give the target practice. Now it does. It is going to mean that Crosshair will get up to speed even faster.
Yeah, I thought that the kill wasn't supposed to give target practice.
No, it was meant to give it.
Oh my god.
Now,
that changes everything with this team. That makes this team so much stronger.
Yeah. Now, this last one, I do need to talk about this because this last one is one where people are putting on the forums, oh, it isn't working. It goddamn is working now. There's just a very specific circumstance it doesn't work under. And it is something we do need to talk about because if you do get caught out by it and it doesn't work, well, you got caught out. So fixed an issue where Ezra Bridger Exile backup plan on the ability Kanan's Legacy was not working as intended. Now, what it is backup plan allows you to revive, which is great.
Right.
However, if you're exiled, you can't get revived because revived is a ability from another character, which you can't get because you're exiled.
Can't attack, gain buffs, or gain other positive effects during another character's turn.
Exactly.
Reviving is a positive effect.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
So, yes, when you've not got exile, you are perfectly fine. You can come back and you can piss with people and piss everybody off, as you will do with that ability. But if you've got exile, you are not going to come back. There are people saying,
unless there is one situation, if Ezra dies on his turn, which would be either dots or thermal detonators or a counterattack.
Yeah. But
if it's his turn, then technically he should revive.
But the other thing is, he shouldn't be able to gain backup plan because backup plan is a buff.
He grants it himself, so
Really?
he should he can still give himself backup plan.
But yeah, it's one of those where I sat there and I saw it on the forum straight away, and it got deleted straight after, and it was just like, did somebody point out that whilst you've got exile, you are not getting revived?
And this has been a subject of contention with this character since day one, because everybody has been sitting there going, well, his kit doesn't work giving backup plan to people. He gives backup plan to specters.
Yep.
It says it right there. Backup plan, Spectre. Backup plan for 2 turns, which can't be copied or
yeah.
That's that. He only gives backup plan to Spectres. And in the Ahsoka team, where everybody starts with exile, if you're opening with this ability, he's not giving them backup plan because they're exiled. They can't gain the buff.
Yep.
This kit is not complicated. I think people are just not reading it correctly, and they're saying, oh, well, these are the effects of this backup plan. No, it doesn't.
It's one of those where I sat there originally and it was like, don't get me wrong, I wish it did work the way we all guessed it would, but at the end of the day, it doesn't. It just does not work that way.
It would be too powerful.
Yeah. Now, where are we? We have the next one. Just bear with us. So the last subject that we do need to talk about today, other than anything else that's on the list, is the GAC calculations. Holy fuck.
Man, did they screw up on this one.
We thought we had worked out roughly what it was. We haven't. So I had actually managed to talk to my opponent from the first round. Even when he lost 2 characters and then won because he had a GL left, he got 58 banners. What? He got 58 banners from a one-man left team where it destroyed. You actually get more banners when you lose characters when it saves than when you actually don't. Something is royally wrong.
I don't even understand. Like, were they... I know we joke about this game having a spaghetti code. How on earth, based on the list of things they updated in the most recent update, how on fucking earth did any of those affect GAC banner calculations?
Effectively,
The only thing that even remotely is GAC related was the Kanan's Legacy ability, because it has a GAC on the front.
I'm wondering if, as part of them bringing these little bits in, if they've gone, okay, let's sort out some of the coding spaghetti to try and make it easier, to make it better for our future proofing and everything else.
I don't think they have that level of foresight.
And this is the result. Now, the first thing they got, this was out within, I think it was 5 to 6 minutes of GAC opening. So obviously, Meathead did do his job. He was watching the forums, he was watching Reddit, and literally when this dropped and people were reporting it, it got sorted. Near enough every creator I know and listen to and watch put either a video out or a statement out or something out saying, do not attack until we can confirm this is not getting fixed mid-round. That's fair enough. That was a good thing to do. Not long later, and for some unknown reason, these are the other way round because this came out on the day, this came out the day after. So, hello, Holotable Heroes. The team has identified an issue with the scoring and working out how to fix it sometime tomorrow. All depends on QA testing. We'll keep you updated when we know more. That's all we got that day. The next day, we got, once a fix is confirmed, we'll provide you with details on a make good for all players who are impacted. Thank you for understanding and stay tuned for further updates. There has been no update since. That was way before the end of the round. It was sat there and I was like, okay, so we're going to get it fixed in between rounds. I don't think it's been fixed. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't even touched mine yet. And I've sat there. I haven't done mine
yet either. I will say it didn't affect me in the first round. On any of my 3 accounts, I did not experience that bug. I don't know. I don't expect that it's been fixed yet because they didn't say it was fixed yet. And as far as a make good goes for affected people, I don't think that they have any way to track who was affected outside of putting out a Google survey that says how were you affected by the GAC calculation bug? And I don't think that they'll do that because it would be too easy to lie and say that you were affected to get free rewards. And CG is not the kind of people who will just give the entire community rewards for a bug only a couple of people experienced.
I think you probably were affected and just didn't realize, which is part of this. Now, the reason I say this is a lot of people were very badly affected by it and didn't realize until they got to the end of the GC and then went, oh, I've not dropped a single battle. Why am I at 1,700 as a score? Where I should be over 2,000.
Yeah, and I may have been affected by it in the manner of I might have won because of the bug affecting my opponent. Yeah. That is definitely a possibility. But I checked my banners after every battle and it was the correct numbers. So I know that I personally did not have my score altered by.
Yeah. So you were one of the very lucky few then, because like when we were doing mine, I was tracking all mine. I always will be tracking mine anyway. And we were going through and it was like we were losing on some rounds it was 8 points. Most of the time it was 8. Then it could be 9. Then it could be 11. Then it could be up to 12, which was the worst one we had. And it was like, what? How is this even like guessable? Because we thought we had got it down to a fine art. We then went into a fight and it should have been 48 banners saved, and it gave us 46. And it was like, ew, okay, so we haven't worked out what the fuck's up with it. So I honestly sat there and just went, we're not going to win this round. So what are we actually meant to do? I showed up correct, and then, yeah. And that's the thing. It's like the splash screen that comes up was saying, oh, yeah, you got this many banners. And then you went away and you checked and you did the maths after. And what was actually saved was like, here's what was as like 48 when you should have been scoring 56s. And it was just like, great. Thanks, CG. Thanks for letting us win what we needed to win here. And honestly, my round finished within 20 points of the other person. And I honestly can sit here and say I probably lost because of that bug. Because a lot of our fights, we were full banners. And it didn't matter whether you had full banners or not. You got the same score. So you could go into a fight and get like a full banner clear, absolutely perfect, and walk away with 48. Or you could have all three survive, have no protection, your health will be over the place, and oh look, you get 48. So there was no distinguishing who got what. And yeah, it is annoying. I'm hoping they do some form of decent make good, because
You said doo-doo.
yeah, honestly, they need to do something. They can't just turn around and go, oh yeah, we're not doing this, or we're not doing that, or we're doing this. They've got to do something decent. They really have. Because this isn't just one or two members of the community affected. This is most of the community affected. So hopefully they'll do something right. Whether they do, it remains to be seen. Personally, I would hope that they just turn around and go, here is 1 week's worth of crystal winnings for every fucker. It was fucked up for the week, here you go. That way...
I would say that would be the best way for them to make good on it.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to do it, but that would be the best way.
The reason I think it is the best option, though, is if you've lost just because the other person managed to get a better score because you had to drop a fight where they managed to not drop a fight, but their banners could have been absolutely trash. Like, yeah, at the end of the day, that's what it's going to come down to, is how bad the banners were. And if you've lost just because they can't do maths, that is not fun.
Yeah.
That is just not fun.
I definitely think that if they're looking to not piss off their player base, which, I mean, let's face it, are they rarely looking to not piss off their player base? It's like everything they do, they try to piss off their base. If they were looking to not piss off their player base, they would just give everybody 1 or 2 win payouts worth of crystals, depending on how many battles this bug stays active for. If it stays active for the whole week, give everybody 3 win payouts worth of crystals. That's realistically still not a make good, because there could be people who would have gotten first place and instead got 8th, you know? But
yep. And
I
this
think
is
that
this
would be
is
the way that
this is where they do need to look at it and do need to heavily consider what they consider as a decent make good, because honestly, yeah, it's good that they've put that there's going to be a make good. Whether this gets edited later and removed is a whole different question. Because we already have seen that, which is another question. But honestly, I sit here and I hope to hell they do the right thing. Whether it happens is the next question. Whether they actually bother to do the right thing is another question. It's like, I'm just sat here now going, I hope that they just make sure that we get what we should have got. Whether that's they just go, here is a week's worth of win payout. It means, yeah, if you would have got first and you lost because of that, sorry. But at least you've got most of your payout. And that's the more important thing, is getting us most of what we should have had. Because at the end of the day, not everybody wants to play GAC to a ridiculous level. Not everybody plays TB to a ridiculous level. Not everybody plays every game mode. But as long as you're getting what you expect from the game modes you are playing, that's what should matter. That's what should be your drive. So hopefully this make good, whatever they do, is worthwhile. That's the main thing to take away from it from me, is I'm just hoping that it's not, here is like 100 crystals. Because if they went, here is 100 crystals, none of us are going to be happy about that. Yeah. Absolutely none of us. So
that would be even worse than the taking 4 months to fix the Until General Grievous.
That was quite funny, though. That was quite funny. Yeah, I don't think they'll make it so like your rank's protected or anything like that, because that means they would just cancel the entire Grand Arena.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can see it. And from the score my opponents got, I'm just going to check something. Yeah. Unless... No. Nope. So from what I'm seeing, it looks like... Oh, actually... No, he dropped a load in the back. They might have fixed it. The score may be fixed.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll find out as, probably in a few hours when because we got 8 hours left in this round.
7 hours, 45 minutes at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll know within the next 7 hours and 45 minutes the exact status of the bug. But,
yeah.
I think that's about all we need to cover with this bug.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of news this week. There's still no podcast questions.
Yep.
Mike is still frozen and Bones is still drunk. So
yeah, he is currently staring at his Mickey shirt. Now we did have a plan for today, and hopefully the person that I'm waiting for is about to realise that we're coming towards the end. It is saying you're offline, Tass. Are you there, Tassnex?
Probably
oh God! Hang on.
This to go for another hour.
Hang on. Tassnex, are you there? Are you there, Tassnex? No? Maybe? He is here. Fair enough. So, with that being said, then, we are getting towards the end. Is there any questions? He just needs a few. Now, if you need to go, Matthias, that's perfectly fine. I can answer questions. I don't mind. We'll do questions for...
I don't need to go. I just didn't think we had anything more to talk about.
So, do people have questions in chat? Because we've got nothing on the Discord today. We haven't got anything to bully Bones with either, who is currently still drunk and playing with his Mickey t-shirt, obviously. But that's not the point. Insert random food question. But yeah.
Any question is good enough. I don't have the Twitch chat open right now. So
I do. I always have it open.
Out while we're at.
Oh, hang on. I think Aussie Mike is starting up. One second. Let's see if Aussie Mike is working.
Starting up, what is your favorite food?
Oh, he wants to know what's your favorite food, Matthias?
What is my favorite food?
Yep.
Any version of macaroni and cheese, to include fettuccine alfredo. I like rasta pasta. I like mac and cheese with pretty much any kind of meat in it, like jerk chicken, buffalo chicken. I like buffalo sauce in my mac and cheese. Chicken Alfredo, shrimp Alfredo, anything. I just, ever since I was a kid, I've loved mac and cheese and probably eat it 2 or 3 times a day. Um, yeah, I don't know, just kind of mac and cheese in general, definitely my favorite. And then I think cheeseburgers are probably my second favorite.
Fair enough. So for me, I have to say my favorite food is kebab. Really not healthy at all. But like if I have a few drinks, yeah. Yeah. One of those. Now, Sol has put in the chat, did you know that Old Man Logan and Bones are moving to the guild tomorrow? Yes, I do, Sol. I did know.
Yes, we did hear about that. Bones did mention to us that him and Old Man Logan were looking to a guild that a couple of other people that we knew are familiar were in. So I hope that all goes well, and don't be afraid to kick Bones for refusing to be a team player.
And more importantly, the head of the guild did let me know in regards to it. And my reply was, oh, there goes the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But there we go.
And if the guild puts out a mandate that says, in order to, help us win more territory wars, we want everybody to apply this. Bone says, well, I don't want to, kick him.
Yep. He has been pre-warned, because I even said, for my level of like guild interaction and everything else, it's one of those where it's like, even for me, moving to this guild was technically a little bit of a step back, because it's like TW isn't you have to sign up, you have to do it every time. Like, Monster Hunter came out, I messaged the head of the guild saying, I won't be on because I'm going to be playing Monster Hunter. If you need me to sign up, I will sign up, but take everything off me. I will not have time to attack. For God's sake, I forgot to do my fleet climb for 3 days in the run because of that game.
Finally, you brought up Monster Hunter. I wish that I could be playing it more, to be honest with you. I've been loving that.
I was playing it for, what did we do the first day? Just shy of 12 and a bit hours. The second day was another 8. Then there was a couple more days, and yeah.
Right now, I have the game paused on the cutscene before the first Doshagama fight, where you fight the Doshagama Alpha.
Yeah.
I have the game paused on that cutscene right now. That is like the next thing that I'm doing.
Honestly, looking back at those fights, early fights, and you're thinking, this is a little bit tricky. You get to where I am now dealing with freaking tempered and empowered bastards. And I've just come across my combined, so it's where they're tempered and empowered. And you're sitting there going, oh, fuck off. Absolutely fuck the fuck off.
I need to relearn my combos because I'm doing Hammer Main again, which is what I did in Monster Hunter World. And I will say I am finding it a little bit repetitive using the it's mostly just the same attacks over again. I gotta look and see if there's combos that I'm forgetting about or something like because I'm like, man, I love the gameplay. I love fighting all these crazy monsters and these crazy, but I'm getting a little tired of circle.
Yeah. Like, a lot of what I've seen with that game, there is a lot of repetitiveness, but there is more combos than people realize, because it's not just left trigger, you've got right trigger, and then you can add bumper on top of trigger, and it was just like, oh my. Like, I sat down the other day going through it all, and it was when I was just sat in a Discord chat, playing away, trying to learn all the extra attacks, and I found out that Gun Lance can block, like, even some of the bigger hits, and then poke straight after. And it's like, fuck, I never knew that I could actually block that level of attack, let alone poke into it.
Gun Lance is the only other weapon that I kind of consistently used. When I first played Monster Hunter World, I took the Gun Lance, and then as time went on, I was like, I like the hammer. But yeah, Gun Lance and Hammer are definitely my two favorite weapons. Monster Hunter, it was so depressing for me because I loved, and then Rise came out, and I bought Rise, and I hated it. It sucked. I did not like that game at all, which put me very on edge, on the fence about whether or not I want Wilds. I saw you playing. I saw some Twitch streamers playing. It looked like it was a lot of fun. I talked to a friend of mine who is like obsessed with it right now, and he was like, "Oh," he pretty much said the same thing. He's like, "I felt the same way. I hated Rise. It was the greatest Monster Hunter game ever before this one." He was like, "This game, Wilds, is the successor to what we all want." I was like, "All right, you sold me. I'll go buy it.
Yeah.
I'll go buy it, and I'll play this game."
Like, I did attempt to play Worlds offline a couple of days ago. No, never doing that again. No, sorry, no. And I got asked by a friend why I would never go back, and it's clunky as shit mechanics.
Yeah,
now used to much smoother.
100% World is clunkier than Worlds. I think, and I know we're going off on a tangent. Obviously, this is supposed to be a Wars Galaxy podcast, not a podcast. But I think, what do you want to see in the first title update?
We've already been told what's in there. New monsters, much harder monsters, shared area.
Capcom has had secret things that they added that they didn't announce.
Yeah.
So, what secret thing, and it doesn't have to be anything huge, it can be just like a specific monster, per se, that you want to see them sneakily add in a title update?
I know what I'd love them to do, because I'm getting very much into the food buffs and all the different combinations that you can do. I am hoping they give us something where it's like, at the moment, like, if you've got high enough botanist skill and you're just running around picking herb, you can then get the oils that you need to make weirder foods. I'm really hoping we get something that gives us another step on that. Like, the rarer herbs getting an oil. Even if it's a really low drop rate. Because I
didn't even know it was part of the skill. I'll have to throw some stuff for that in the future.
Yeah. I've literally been making a loadout specifically for it. And it's like, holy shit, when you see that, and then you see some of the builds that are out there at the moment, yeah, it's fun. It is really fun. Now, we have got a question in the podcast questions. It is from Tiny Bubbles. Hello there, Huts. Tiny Bubbles here from House of the Huts. I assume he's still over there.
He is. Yes, he is.
What's an event in game where you find yourself pulling mods even when you think you've got the perfect mods for it? Mine is definitely the Reaver mission, especially with the new account.
Um,
I'm going to be honest. I now, for all the events, I have remodded where I haven't got like the final tier. I've remodded it, I've 3-starred it just to auto it and never have to think again. Things like the Reaver mission, I went, fuck it, I'm adding Marek's army to both Marek's. I just cheese it because I don't want to remod.
yeah, so with the Inquisitors, I've always had the Riva mission mods on my Inquisitors, as just those are also the mods that I use in GAC. It's probably not ideal. I think it helps with Java counter. But it's probably not ideal to do that. I did also apply the Marek Omi, just because I had like a 95% win rate on that mission or something like that. I had a spare Omicron at the time. This was like right before Darkside Ray came out. I was sitting 100 material, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna put one Marek to make this Inquisitor battle a guaranteed win." Which it absolutely is. If you have an R7 Marek and you're struggling with the Inquisitor battle, just put that on.
Yeah.
Again.
I'm going to be honest. I did a video on YouTube the other day for it. I don't remod even the baby account. The baby account has got GI that's got 1 Zeta. The team hasn't got all the Zetas. I showed the modding very quickly on there. It is not the best modding. And the whole video, including that fight, was still sub 3 minutes.
It plain out says in the Omicron, they are immune to percent-based health damage. Not they take reduced damage. They are immune to it. The dots from the world modifier and the detonators don't exist.
Yeah.
I literally, like, what tends to happen when I do that battle now is beat phase 1, you go to wave 2, it's the JMK by himself or the pirates there if you guys haven't maxed out platoons. And what happens is Marek uses his basic, Seventh Sister assists, and JMK is dead.
Yeah. And it
2
is
basic,
laughable.
and he dies.
And I think a lot of people in this game do like to not have to remod for specific missions. Reaver is one of those that for a very long time, a lot of people were remodding, but now there's an answer where you never have to remod. And I think that is the more important thing here to take away, instead of what characters do you remod for, what missions do you remod for, how can you get your account around having to remod?
And
because remodding
the
sucks.
thing is I hate remodding. Realistically, I should probably now go and remod my full Inquisitor team to make them better. But I've already 3-starred final tier of battle. I don't really use them in GAC all that often. Well, actually, no, I do use them in GAC, but I only really ever throw them up against stuff that they have a percent win rate against, so I never find my mods falling short. And so I don't really have a good solid reason to remod them.
Fair enough. So another question that's come through in chat: what is the best character to gear up, Trench, Luthen, or Dark Trooper Moff Gideon? My answer is
I wasn't done answering Tiny's question.
Fair enough.
As far as Tiny's question goes, the only thing that I have ever made a mod loadout for modded was the Endor raid Leia solo, because that had very specific mods that were very different from what you and so I had a mod set specifically for that, and whenever the raid would come around, I would throw that loadout on, do my mods back where we're supposed to go.
Yeah, I still do that with the raid now, where it's a case of, oh look, we're raiding. Oh look, it's reset. Don't care.
I do not remod for this raid. This raid sucks. I'm not putting that much effort into it.
Yeah, I put effort in because of the guild that I'm in, so
When it was
that's
just
the thing.
one character that needed to be remodded every time the raid came around, it was fine. I'm not remodding 3 teams of characters every.
Fair enough. So
Okay, so what was the question from the chat?
so why not ask what is the best character to gear up? Trench, Luthen, or Dark Trooper Moff Gideon? My exact one is going to be, what do you have a team for already? Or what team would you want to be building first?
If you have all of those teams at the same level, and this question is more of a which team should I finish before, then it's very dependent on what you're oriented towards. If you are GAC oriented, and this is assuming that you have the Omicrons or you're considering the Omicrons as part of what you're doing with the team. If you're a very GAC oriented player, Luthen Rail.
Yeah.
If you're a very TW oriented player, it's kind of a toss up between DTMG and Trench. But I would say that DTMG is more useful on like a wider field than Trench is. So TW, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, GAC, Luthen Rail.
Fair enough. Now, we are now at the end, guys. Tasnex is gone live, so we are going to raid over to him. Would you like to say goodbyes, Matthias, whilst I get this set up then?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to everybody who came out and hung out with us. Thank you to those of you who threw a couple of questions out there to help us get through this last 10, 15 minutes of the chatting. Even though you probably only did it because you didn't want to hear us talk about Monster Hunter for another 20 minutes. It really does mean the world to all of us that you guys come out and support us. We're not really making any money off of this, which is fine. We're mostly just doing this for fun. We really enjoy sitting here and having these conversations with each other, and guys' questions and interacting with the chat is fun as well.
So, guys, thank you very much for being here today. We will be back next week. Hopefully, there'll be more news. But yeah, have a great one, guys. We're currently a few seconds out from raiding over to Tasnex. I'm going to be over there doing my GSE as well. So yeah, we're going over there, guys. Thank you for being here. We're back next week. Hopefully, we'll have the 2 others appearing with us. If not, we might have to replace Aussie Mike with an AI properly.
Or I could just do a really racist Australian accent.
Bye, guys.
Oh, he heard us. He said bye to everybody. I think Aussie Mike, the AI, might be the answer here, guys. So have a great one, guys, and see you all soon.